So it's me, your boy K Samson. I have this topic for us today, which I titled God approve versus what people approve. I understand sometimes people will look on you and do it and conclude that you can never do it. You can never make it. It will come to a point in your life where people will finalize by saying nothing good will come out from you, that you can't succeed, you can't do that. But believe me, it is some certain things that people don't value, people take for granted, people don't like. That is the thing that God always use for his glory. So I don't know what people have said about you, what people have talked about you, but I'm here to tell you pure truth that God approve can never be compared with what with men approve. You know what I'm saying? So they may look on you, conclude on your case, conclude on your matter, but I believe within myself that men approve can never be compared with God approve in your life. Yes, men may conclude on you, they may look down on you, turn you down, frustrate you, conclude that you can never make it, but believe me, God approve can never be compared with men approve. He said in his word that once he has spoke, but twice we have held him. So let them say, let them talk. People will always do what? Do everything just to make sure they bring you down. Sometimes it will come to your life, it will come to a point in your life where your blood brothers, your blood sister, they will be looking, selecting people that they believe that they could do it, they will make it. It will come to a point in your life where you will realize that people will be selecting people who will become successful, because that is their own what approve, that is their own belief, that is their own thinking, that is their own agreement. So you don't need to argue with someone who said you can't make it. Listen, you need to wait till the end of this video. So you don't need to argue with people who don't understand your joining. You don't need to argue with people who don't understand where you are heading to. You know what I'm saying? So you need not to argue with no one when it comes to what destiny. You don't need to argue with someone or try to convince them that what they are saying is wrong. You just ought to do what? To let them be. Believe on yourself. Understand that God approve is totally different from man-made approve. Yes, people will conclude on your case because they have not realized or understand whom you are, and they ought not to understand you. Not everyone is permitted to understand your joining. Not everyone is permitted to understand where you are heading to. So majority of people will turn down on you, Majority of people will turn down on you. Why? Because their joining is not made for everyone. Majority of people will look you and conclude and say you can never do what? You can never go far. Just because God do not allow them to go with you. Majority of people will come into your life and tell you pure and polited that nothing with good will come from you. So you don't need to argue with these certain types of people. You don't need to argue with them because that is what they believe. That is what they have made up their mind. Even if you tried your best to convince them, to make them understand that you will be successful one day, that is their own approve towards you. But listen, that is the same thing that they said about Joseph. That is the same thing that was stated about Esther. That is the same thing that was stated about what? David. So listen, God used the foolish things of the earth to make the best of the earth. God select the nonsense, people call nonsense, and reform it and create it and make it to become what the best in the earth. So people will always conclude on you, and don't believe that everybody will do what we understand your mission on earth. Don't believe or have that mindset that everybody ought to understand you, because where you are heading to can never be approved by men. It ought to be approved by God, because God's standard and man's standard can never be the same. The Bible recorded and recommended it that as heaven is higher than the earth, so the thought of God towards us are more greater than what the thought of men. So I don't know who have concluded on you. I don't know who have stated one word to another within you. I don't know who has speak against your life, who have said you can't make it. But I'm here to urge you and to let you know that the thought can never be greater than the thought of God towards you. Their thought can never be greater or be compared with the thought that God has for you. So let them talk. It is their mouth. Let them say. It is their word. It is their doing. That is what they believe, and you cannot convince them. You cannot change them. So all you ought to understand that God approve is greater, more superior, more understanding than men approve. Because men must surely conclude on you. That is the reason why it will come to a point in your life where people you are expecting to help you, people you are expecting to assist you, people you are hoping that one day they will be there for you, suddenly all of them will turn against you. All of them will turn down on you. Why? Because they don't believe that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Just because they don't believe that you can do it. So men will always disappoint you. Men will always look down on you. Some people will just look on you and say, no, this one we count it out. But when God comes to you in, they will understand that the difference between God approve and men approve. So when God approve you, let millions of men, let billions of men stand against you. You will always win. You gonna say, so let them gather and said you can't win. Let them gather and speak against you. Let them gather and conclude against your life and say you can never succeed. But God approve can never be compared with men approve. If God said it is done unto you, believe me, so it is. If God said you are going to be successful, so it is. Let them work all manners of things to put asunder. But when God speak, no man can put asunder. So this is all I have for you, brothers. Don't be dumbfounded when people conclude or said all manners of word against you, because they ought not to understand your mission on earth. Not everyone is allowed to go with you on the joining of your destiny. You understand what I'm saying? Not everyone is permitted to understand your mission. So remain blessed.